Discover the shocking truth about Zadkiel, God's mercy in desperate times, at 3 a.m. The clock struck 3, and the air was thick with something otherworldly. In the hushed dark, shadows slithered through the corridors of time, whispering secrets older than the earth itself. A figure emerged, cloaked in an ethereal halo of light that flickered like dying stars. This was Zadkiel, the Archangel of Mercy, yet something felt off, something foreboding loomed. In a forgotten town on the edge of nowhere, people spoke in hushed tones of unfathomable dreams, of eyes flickering from the depths of the void, each person tethered to an unseen thread of fate that seemed to tangle more and more. The townsfolk were gripped by visions that would haunt them for nights on end. One after the other, they faced strange phenomena, voices that echoed in their dreams, shadowy apparitions that twisted and turned in the night. As the moon waned, its light was replaced by an eerie crimson. Folks began to recount eerie encounters where they felt a shiver race down their spine, as if someone was watching. A sudden chill swept through the air, making them clench their fists, faces paling at the thought of the oncoming dread. But whispered miracles surrounded the angel as well. Desperate prayers answered without a moment's hesitation. Lives turned from sorrow to joy in a heartbeat. Hope bloomed amid despair, leaving many torn between disbelief and wonder. What was his true purpose? Could this celestial being be a harbinger of salvation, or was he pulling them into a dark abyss they could never escape? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the night unfolded, a bone-chilling scream shattered the silence, rattling the very foundations of the town. At that moment, the townsfolk gathered, eyes wide, hearts racing, the air buzzing with fear. What if the angel wasn't what he appeared to be? Did they unknowingly invite danger into their lives? Who was the true master of this game? Zadkiel stood amongst them, enigmatic as ever, clutching a tattered scroll said to hold the ultimate truth. The townsfolk held their breath, gripped by a mix of awe and terror. The delicate balance of fear and faith hung by a thread. And just then, he whispered a name. The name echoed like a haunting melody, piercing the thick silence, striking every heart like a cold blade. The crowd leaned in, breath held tight in their chests, waiting for the revelation that could either shatter their world or save it. Zadkiel's voice was calm, yet it held an unsettling weight. Lila, he uttered, the name floating into the night like a forgotten prayer. A murmur rippled through the gathered townsfolk. Lila was just a girl, delicate and sweet, with laughter that once danced in the sunlight. But now, she was the focus of attention, a pawn in this celestial game. What could she have to do with the archangel standing before them? As if stirred by an ancient force, Lila stepped forward into the flickering light. Her eyes mirrored the moon's blood-red glow, vibrant and haunting. The townsfolk recoiled slightly, caught between recognition and fear. How could a child be so entwined with an angel's decree? Zadkiel's expression shifted. The once warm light around him wavered, growing colder, darker. Lila is more than you realize, he continued, each word laced with the weight of destiny. She carries a fragment of a choice that will decide the fate of this town and possibly the world. Fear clutched at the gathered crowd as they exchanged glances. What choice? What do you mean? Someone shouted, pushing forward. The urgency in their tone echoed the growing anxiety. You stand at the brink of a pivotal moment, Zadkiel replied, his voice resonating with an ethereal calm that infuriated yet intrigued them. This town, ruled by shadows of past transgressions, has awakened spirits long thought to be dormant. Lila's heart knows how to quell that unrest, but it comes with a price, an unimaginable sacrifice. Gasps erupted among the townsfolk. Sacrifice? It hung heavy in the air, palpable as the chilly night. Was this what they had invited into their lives? As the whispers of fear turned to outright panic, shadows seemed to coil closer, pulsating around them, feeding off their dread. Lila looked around, confusion and determination mixing in her youthful eyes. "I don't understand," she whispered, taking another tentative step forward. "What do I have to do?" Zadkiel watched her intently, as if seeing into the depths of her soul. "You alone can restore balance, but it will require a peace of your heart, the purity of your innocence, and the strength to face darkness. Time is short, and if you hesitate, the shadows will claim their price in blood." The words hung in the night like a suffocating fog. Tension swelled, pinching hearts and tightening throats. Lila glanced back at her parents, who stood frozen with terror, and the townsfolk, their faces torn between desperation and denial. They could feel it now, the unshakable grip of fate tightening around them. But how could a child bear this burden? The clock ticked ominously in the background, counting down the moments they had left. Suddenly, from the depths of the crowd, a man bellowed, "No, you can't ask her to do this." Zadkiel turned slowly, his gaze darkening. One must always pay for salvation. The question remains, is she willing? Lila shivered, caught between the choice before her and the fear of the unknown. The air crackled with anticipation, a harbinger of chaos lurking just beneath the surface. "Time is running out," Zadkiel warned, his voice dropping to a whisper edged with urgency. "What will you decide, Lila?" As the townsfolk held their breath, waiting for a reply that could shatter the darkness and bring forth light, a distant howl echoed in the haunting silence. And in that moment, all eyes were on her, the weight of the world pressing down, as the line between salvation and damnation blurred. What would she choose? The stillness thickened, but Lila stood frozen, staring into the abyss, wanting desperately to understand the magnitude of her choice. Could she truly stand against the shadows? And as the last clock struck, a new terror loomed close on the horizon, ready to stake its claim. The silence swelled, an agonizing pause that felt like an eternity. Every gaze bore into Lila, and she could feel her heart pounding against her ribcage, a frantic reminder of the life pulsing within her. Was it truly possible that her small self held such power? She glanced at her parents, their faces contorted in horror, and felt a lump rise in her throat. The weight of responsibility pressed down on her, thick and suffocating. "Lila." The voice came again, sharper this time. It was the man from before, his shout piercing through the tension. "You mustn't tea. You're just a child." But was that all she was? She searched within herself for an answer, a flicker of hope. Shadows seemed to pulse like a living thing, encircling her. The air grew colder, and with it came whispers that brushed against her ears, mocking, taunting. "Foolish girl," they hissed. "You think you can change your fate?" Zadkiel's eyes flickered with an ancient wisdom, the shadow of sadness crossing his angelic face. "You must rise above fear, Lila. Only then will you embrace your true destiny." "What if I can't?" she stammered, tears threatening to spill. "What if I make the wrong choice?" "Then we all drown in darkness," he replied, a hint of desperation in his tone, every heartbeat echoing that choice across generations, across realms. Her world spun. She felt the earth shift beneath her, caught in a whirlwind of emotions: despair, fear, hope. Whispers of the past haunted her thoughts, tales of sacrifice, of heroes and heroines, of choices made in the deepest dark. Would she be a hero or just another casualty of fate? The crowd grew restless. Murmurs bounced back and forth, fueled by panic. What if she chooses wrong? Someone shouted, stirring chaos. "We cannot let her do this." "Enough." Zadkiel's voice boomed like thunder, silencing their fears with a wave of authority. "Decisions shape destiny, but fear will only bind us to our chains. Lila, your choice, yours alone, transcends all." Her mind raced. She envisioned the town she loved, the fields where she played, and the faces of those who depended on her. There was a flicker of something in her gut, a small but fierce flame of courage. But with courage came dread. What if I can't survive the sacrifice? Zadkiel took a step closer, his presence almost overwhelming. The weight of sacrifice can be eased by the light you carry. It's not just about loss, Lila. It's about what you can protect. The thought struck her. She wouldn't be alone. All her loved ones surrounded her, their hopes intertwined with her fragile heart. Fear battled with a growing sense of purpose, and urgency sharpened her resolve. "Tell me what I must do." She shouted defiantly, voice trembling but alive with newfound strength. I will face the shadows. The townsfolk gasped, disbelief etched on their faces. Lila felt emboldened, the shadows recoiling slightly. But even as she stood firm, a distant, dark laugh echoed from the edges of the town, sending shivers down everyone's spine. Suddenly, the ground shook, and the sky above them crackled. A swirling vortex of darkness loomed, wild and chaotic. Zadkiel's gaze turned grave, and he chanted words Lila could not understand, his wings expanding dramatically behind him. Lila, time has run out. Prepare for the choice. The vortex seemed alive, reaching out toward Lila like a hungry beast. Fear clutched at her heart with icy fingers, yet determination ignited within her. Do it, Lila. Choose. Someone yelled from the crowd, their voice piercing through the growing chaos. But before she could respond, the darkness surged forward, enveloping her in a pulse of terror and shadow. In that fleeting moment, she felt the vastness of the world closing in around her, threatening to swallow her whole. Would she choose to protect her home, or was she about to plunge everyone into darkness? The vortex spiraled tighter, dragging the town with it. In that moment, when the ground tipped precariously beneath her feet, a single thought crystallized in her mind: what would happen if she said yes? As Lila teetered on the edge of decision, the world around her blurred, leaving only a chilling whisper that echoed through the abyss. One choice. One moment. What now? The darkness coiled tightly around her, a living shroud, cold and unforgiving. Lila felt her breath catch, a desperate gasp trapped in her throat. A fierce wind howled with a shrill cry, an angry chorus of wailing shadows, as if the very torment of her indecision fueled their rage. The faces of her friends and family blurred into a swirling storm of fear and expectation, their shouts melting into a cacophony. Lila, please, don't. A voice cried, and she recognized it as her mother's. The pleading note pierced through the chaos. But how could she turn back? The vortex throbbed, its energy reaching out, pulling at her. She could feel its insatiable appetite, demanding her choice, desperate to consume her. Choose. Save them. The urgency in Zadkiel's voice erupted with the force of a thunderclap, commanding yet laced with sorrow. He stood tall, his wings casting an ethereal glow, illuminating the darkness around him like the rising sun. But how? How could she choose when her heart throbbed with uncertainty? As the swirling shadows danced with the flickering light, her chest tightened further. It was as if the very essence of her soul was being measured, weighed against the fates of those she loved. With a trembling hand, she reached out, the warmth of her own courage battling the bitter cold encasing her heart. I don't know if I'm strong enough. The words slipped out in a whisper, barely audible above the chaos. The vortex quivered as if absorbing her uncertainty. Its shadows lengthened, momentarily retreating before surging forward again, eager to drown her spirit in despair. Suddenly, a vision flashed before her. The fields of golden wheat swaying gently in the summer breeze, laughter echoing under the bright sun, children playing, her childhood alive again. No, she shouted into the whirlpool of despair. I won't allow you to take my home. With that declaration, she felt an ember ignite within her, a flicker of strength fueled by love and desperation. It spread like wildfire, illuminating her small figure in the clutches of the darkness. Zadkiel took a step back, shock mingling with admiration. Feel the light. It is yours to command. His voice resonated, wrapping around her, anchoring her in this moment of truth. Her vision sharpened as the shadows hissed, recoiling from her burgeoning light. But what do I choose? Lila raised her voice as the surge of power coursed through her, racing from her heart to her fingertips. What is the cost? For an eternity, she lingered there, suspended between chaos and clarity. A shadowy laughter echoed again, deeper this time, taunting. You think yourself a savior? We will consume all hope, Lila. Refusing to yield to despair, Lila held her ground. I won't give in. I won't let the darkness win. She summoned all the warmth within her, channeling every ounce of love she felt for her town, her family, her very spirit. The vortex swirled violently, convulsing as if repulsed by her defiance. In that moment of stubborn clarity, She screamed her decision to the winds swirling around her. I choose to fight. The shadows writhed, pulling back as the light erupted from her. She could feel the sheer force of her choice pressing against her skin, electrifying the air. But then, amidst the swirling energy, something unexpected happened. A figure emerged from the darkness, a spectral form cloaked in dread, looming over her with an eerie smile. "Foolish child," it crooned, its voice smooth and sinister. "Did you truly believe you could fight what is beyond your comprehension?" Terror pierced through Lila, and the ground felt like it had turned to quicksand beneath her feet. Who was this being, and what did it want from her? As she fought against the encroaching darkness, the entity approached, its eyes glinting with mischief. "Ah, but my dear," it whispered, "the true cost of your choice is far greater than you imagine." What price would Lila have to pay for her bravery? Was she truly prepared for the fight ahead? The entity loomed closer, its presence chilling the very air around Lila. The darkness seemed to pulse, crawling toward her, eager to cloak her in despair. She steadied her breath, the weight of the moment pressing down hard as dread curled in her stomach. "I know who you are," she whispered, fighting to maintain her composure. But as she spoke, uncertainty gripped her heart. "You're the one they warn us about, a harbinger of nightmares." The figure tilted its head, that wicked smile stretching wider. "Ah, the child has been listening. But tales often warp the truth, much like the shadows that shroud your vision." Its voice dripped with a sweet malice, weaving through the chaos, caressing the edges of her determination. "What do you want from me?" Lila breathed, the flicker of her courage wavering. "Oh, my dear Lila," it cooed, as if to lull her into a false sense of safety. "I seek only to reveal the truth. You think your choice empowers you? That you fight for your beloved? But the reality is," it paused, savoring her moment of panic, and leaned in closer, its breath like ice. "You are led by delusion. You might fight, yes, but every struggle brings sorrow. You cannot protect all who dwell in your heart. Someone will pay." "No." Lila clenched her fists, defiance igniting within her once more, brighter than before. "I'd rather fight than live in fear." Brave words for a child. It snickered, moving back to allow the shadows to surge forward, swirling around her ankles, tugging gently at her resolve. Lila gritted her teeth as she felt them bite at her skin, like 1,000 icy fingers trying to slip beneath. With a flick of its wrist, the entity conjured forth images, visions that sliced through her heart. Her mother, terrified and trembling, enveloped in shadows. Her friends, faces contorted in agony, reaching out, but unable to break free. "Choose wisely," Lila, it whispered, the words curling like smoke. "No," she shouted, but the doubt began to seep in, like poison uncoiling in her veins. "Do you not see? They will suffer unless you let go," it murmured beneath the howling winds, each word a dagger aimed straight at her heart. Lila's energy flickered, the shadows elated. They danced wildly around her, joyous at the sight of her faltering spirit. She was losing them. "Fight," she gasped, as if trying to remind herself. But her voice wavered. "Fight." The entity surveyed her with cold, calculating eyes. "You want to succeed? Give yourself to the power of the darkness, and all will be spared. The price is yours alone." "No." Lila's pulse thundered in her ears, but the weight of its promise lingered. She could envision the faces of those she loved, the fear dissolving away if she only let the darkness embrace her, if she simply surrendered. But as shadows swirled hungrily around her, something deep within began to ignite again, a certainty, a flame of resolve. "I will not give in." The power of her emotions sparked to life. "I will never succumb to despair." Zadkiel's voice surged through her mind, steadying her like the brightest beacon. "Feel the light. It stays within you. You must summon it." With every ounce of strength, she pushed back against the shadows. The light erupted like a supernova, sending the darkness reeling back as it clashed with the entity, illuminating everything around her in piercing brilliance. But now, clarity turned to confusion as a sudden silence enveloped her. The entity, once so mighty, shrank back, its sneer transforming into a mask of shock. "You're not what I expected." Lila hesitated. "What did you think I was?" The shadows shifted, a crack forming in their chaos, revealing glimmers of hope. "Perhaps a pawn," it replied, voice trembling. "But you know, There's more to you. Isn't there? This revelation hung heavily in the air, and Lila realized she wasn't just fighting for her loved ones. She was battling for herself, a force awakening deep inside her, ready for the true fight ahead. But what had she unleashed? What remained hidden in her heart? And would she be able to confront it before it engulfed her whole? As the shadows screeched, Lila braced herself, knowing something deeper awaited within. Just how far will you go to protect what you love? The entity asked, its voice now laced with a strange awe. What did that mean? As the darkness roared around her, Lila felt the surge of adrenaline, anticipation thrumming in her veins. She had to find out, and she had to do it fast. Was this the moment of truth? Or just the beginning of a greater battle against forces she could hardly begin to comprehend? Lila's heart raced, the echoes of the entity's question clinging to her like cobwebs. How far? She could almost feel the shadows curling tighter around her, ready to drag her into oblivion. But she wasn't done yet. Whatever lies in the depths of my heart, whatever darkness waits, I will face it, she declared, voice ringing with newfound conviction. The walls of the void seemed to tremble at her words, as if acknowledging her defiance. The entity's eyes glinted with interest and disdain. Such passion, but do you know the price? Power demands sacrifice, my dear. It stepped forward, the darkness shifting and swirling in elegant treachery, eager to ensnare her again. She could almost hear it whispering her fears, tempting her to give in. Tell me what you want, Lila shouted, pushing through the rising tide of panic. The shadows were clawing at her, but she pushed the fear away with a resolve that burned bright in her chest. The way forward felt perilous but intoxicating, fueled by her unwavering love for her mother, her friends, and herself. The entity laughed, a cold, bitter sound that sliced through the darkness. Ah, how spicy your spirit! But that stubbornness may lead you to ruin. You think you possess the light? You think it can fend off the darkness? You're mistaken. With a snap of its skeletal fingers, images erupted before her again, visions more horrifying than anything she had seen. Her mother, not just frightened, but chained in place, the shadows burrowing closer. Friends screaming, their essence slowly consumed by the void. Choose wisely, Lila. End this suffering now. Join me, or they will not survive what is to come. Fear clutched at her throat, suffocating her. No. She took a step forward, each word a hammer stroke against doubt. I will not abandon anyone. They deserve to be saved. In that moment, she felt it, the light she summoned deep within slowly rising, a warm flame defying the cold. With each heartbeat, the luminescence shattered the darkness wrapping around her. Zadkiel. Her voice rang out like a clarion call. In response to her plea, a beam of pure radiant light broke through the shadowy realm, illuminating the chaos that had overtaken her. The entity staggered, bewildered, as if the very existence of this light repelled it. You call for assistance? It hissed, its icy demeanor cracking. You do not need the likes of him. Power is within your own grasp. No. Lila surged forward, heart racing. I'd rather stand in the light of those who love me than cower in the shadows. The entity's smirk faltered, the darkness flickering under the intensity of her light. With each second, Lila felt the chains of doubt shatter. She could feel an undeniable force coursing through her veins, stronger than fear, more profound than despair. Love. The ground beneath her quaked, treacherous fissures opening as the shadows screamed in terror, receding away from her like a tide pulled back by the moon. What are you? The entity hissed, fear apparent for the first time. She flashed with brilliance, her resolve unbreakable. I am Lila. I am not afraid. Then, in the midst of the chaos, a low rumble echoed through the air, a sound that tightened around her chest. It was familiar, almost like the beating of wings. She locked eyes with the entity, anticipation dancing in her chest. What have I stirred? What lies beyond this battle? As the rumbling crescendoed, she felt the fabric of her world shift, layers peeling back to expose a vast void beyond the shadows. The darkness trembled before her, unsure of its own strength against her burgeoning light. Prepare yourself, Lila. The true challenge is coming. Before she could respond, a blinding flash erupted, and a figure emerged from the light, a silhouette against the chaos, powerful and radiant. Lila's breath hitched. She felt drawn in by the presence, yet consumed by dread. Is this the help I summoned? Or is it just another trick? The entity shrieked, frantically retreating as if it could flee from what was about to approach. As clarity illuminated her path, Lila stood ready, heart pounding, knowing that the battle had only just begun. What awaited her on the other side? Was this intervention salvation or another temptation into deeper darkness? And as the figure stepped closer, Lila felt her pulse quicken and the shadows coiling in retreat. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice steady, yet laced with trepidation. Right then, she realized. Every flicker of hope came with a choice. She had a decision to make, a moment that could tip the scales of light and darkness. What happens when you summon someone meant to guide you in your darkest hour? Would they bring freedom or bind her deeper still? The figure stepped forward, revealing a pair of luminous wings that cast a warm glow against the encroaching shadows. As light refracted off its feathers, the darkness flickered like a candle in a storm. Lila squinted, trying to make out the features of the being before her. "Zadkiel," it whispered, the syllables flowing like a gentle breeze through her mind. "I have come to answer your call and to help you navigate your darkest trial." Hope bloomed in Lila's heart, but uncertainty clawed back at her. "You're really here? But why now? Why not sooner?" She blurted out, her voice trembling. The entity had shown her horrors images of loved ones in chains. Could she trust this newfound ally? Zadkiel paused, tilting its head slightly, studying her with eyes that seemed to hold the reflections of countless galaxies. "Sometimes, the darkest nights lead to the brightest dawns. Your call was a beacon in this abyss, and it has drawn me to your side." The entity roared, breaking the moment with a volley of anguished laughter. "Such naivete! Do you think this feathered fool can shield you from the darkness? You'll only find despair when the light fades." It spat, its voice dripping with malice. Lila felt a shiver race down her spine, but she grasped the truth of Zadkiel's presence. The warmth was palpable, filling the gaps where doubt dared to creep. "No, I will not let you fill me with fear." Then, with a flurry of movement, she raised her hands, releasing a cascade of golden light that intertwined with Zadkiel's energy, creating a celestial fire. The shadows hissed and flinched as the brilliance encircled them, engulfing everything in its radiant path. "Every memory you cherish, every bond forged in love, you must hold tight," Zadkiel urged, its voice resonating deep within her. "This light is not just from me, it's the love within you. Draw it out." With each pulse of energy, Lila felt her love for her mother and her friends fortifying her resolve. She could see the warmth of their smiles, hear the laughter of shared moments, and feel the unwavering support that had always surrounded her. This was her power, and it surged like a tidal wave. "Let go of your past fears. Let love guide you," Zadkiel encouraged, its wings expanding as it prepared to face the encroaching void. But that's when Lila felt a shift. Shadows twisted and coiled, drawing closer again, whispering, "You think you are strong, but what if you lose everything you cherish? What if light is your only ally, and yet they fall one by one, consumed just like so many before?" Doubt invaded her thoughts, dark tendrils wrapping around her heart like a vice. Sweat trickled down her brow as she battled against it. "No, I won't let you." The shadows erupted in anguished screams, engulfing her in doubt. "You want strength? You think light will save you? Return to us, join us instead. Embrace the power we offer." Lila's breath quickened. Each scream clawed at her sanity. "Zadkiel, help. I feel it slipping, I can't focus, Lila." Zadkiel shouted, its wings fluttering fiercely, the light intensifying. "You must choose. This is your moment to wield the true essence of why you fight." Lila clenched her fists, ready to yield to the surging tide of darkness or embrace the blinding light. Her eyes darted between the shadows threatening to consume her and the steadfast glow of Zadkiel. The weight of choice thudded against her heart like a drum. Just then, a shadowy figure broke free from the void, seeping into her consciousness a piercing image. Her mother, terrified and chained, the shadowy entity twisting around her. "Lila," she pleaded, her voice echoing through the chaos. "Don't give in." "No," Lila screamed, her heart fracturing at the sight. The realization rocked her to her core. This was a battle for her love, for all that was precious to her, not merely a clash of light and shadow that as she fought against despair, a blinding clarity washed over her. I will choose love. I will not be a pawn. But at that moment, the ground beneath them trembled, and the shadows surged with renewed vigor, threatening to swallow them whole. Prepare for the despair you thought you escaped. A surge of darkness spiraled toward her, wrapping tightly around her form, but she refused to yield. Lila's voice rose like thunder. No more. I am not just light, but the whole of my spirit. I will not fall. The air crackled with tension, two forces, one of piercing darkness, the other of radiant light, on the brink of collision. Would her declaration be enough to breach the veil of despair and rescue her mother, or was she stepping blindly into another trap? As shadows swirled menacingly around her, Lila's resolve solidified. The real battle was far from over, and the choice she now faced could change the very fabric of her existence. The darkness flared, a swirling mass of fury and despair. It lunged toward Lila, threatening to snuff out every ounce of courage she had summoned. Each pulse of dark energy was a reminder of what she stood to lose. But at the same time, the warmth of Zadkiel radiated through her, anchoring her in this storm. Channel your love, Zadkiel shouted, its voice piercing through the chaos like a beacon. Do not succumb to their lies. Lila's heart raced, pumping embers of fiery determination. I want tea. You can't have me. She dug deep, pulling forth memories of childhood filled with laughter, afternoons spent wrapped in her mother's stories. With every thought, light blossomed and intertwined with the shadows, creating a mesmerizing dance of light and darkness. But the emergence of that light sent the shadows recoiling momentarily, only to return with vengeance. The whispers intensified, a cacophony of doubt clawing at her mind. They will betray you, abandon you, watch you writhe in pain. Lila pressed her hands to her ears, willing herself to focus. The sound was unbearable. It felt as if her very soul was being unraveled by their malevolence. I believe in my love. I believe they want to abandon me. In that instant, Lila visualized them all, her mother, her friends, everyone who had ever stood by her side. Each face, each laugh came rushing back, forming an invisible shield around her. The grip of despair loosened, and she felt empowered, emboldened. The shadows flickered, sensing the shift. You think you're safe? The sinister voice slithered like smoke in the air. Your light is only temporary, like a match in a tempest. You've already lost. It's only a matter of time before they fall. No, Lila yelled, her voice ringing with ferocity. Hope surged through her again, igniting a brilliant golden glow. She was not just a participant in this battle. She was the storm, the light, and the love that fought back against the encroaching darkness. With every ounce of strength she could muster, she released it outward, like a shockwave of energy. The golden light erupted from her, enveloping everything in its reach. It pushed against the shadows, illuminating the faces of the trapped, her mother among them, shimmering with hope. Fight! Lila shouted, her voice steady, filled with a fierce conviction that rippled through the shadows. You are not alone. I will fight for you. A ripple of recognition passed through the chains that bound her mother. The love Lila exuded was a salve, a lifeline. Her mother lifted her gaze toward Lila, determination blazing in her eyes. Lila, encouraged by the flicker of memory and love caught in that brief moment, Lila's heart ignited once more. A renewed resolve echoed within her. If she could reach one, she could reach them all. The ground shook violently, responding to the clash of energy now surging around them. This is futile. The shadows screamed, their roiling mass recoiling against the brilliance that was Lila. You cannot save them. She could see the fear in Zadkiel's eyes for the first time, a reflection of doubt. But she quickly swallowed her own uncertainty. I will save them. Suddenly, a blinding flash erupted, splitting the dark. Zadkiel's wings flared out, casting a celestial light that illuminated every crevice. The darkness writhed and writhed, threatening to consume her, but Lila held her ground. Then, in a moment that felt suspended in air, the ground beneath her shifted, revealing a path downward, like a gaping maw eager to swallow her up. She was being pulled, not just physically. The shadows clawed at her mind, whispering promises of power and of an easy escape from the fight, if only she would join them. Choose Lila, Zadkiel urged, its voice a mixture of urgency and fear. Fight the temptation to give in. Trust in your heart, in your love. The shadows vibrated, words spilling like venom. What matters more, your mother's suffering, or the power you can gain by surrendering? As Lila teetered between her deepest desires and the horrific realities, she felt at the grip of fate tightening. She could either lose herself in the darkness or step forward, carrying the love of those she fought for, into the unknown. Do not let fear bind you. Your true path lies ahead. Zadkiel's plea surged like adrenaline. Yet, she hesitated. The choice loomed, either to surrender and claim the power promised to her, or to leap into the unknown. What lay below? Was it freedom or further chains? The shadows loomed, hungry for her decision, while the light flickered erratically, both a warning and a lifeline. Would this plunge reveal answers, or doom her to the very fate she sought to escape? Lila gulped, the weight of the decision choking her. It all came to this moment. What choice would she make? The swirling darkness seemed to pulse with anticipation, as if it could taste her doubts. Lila felt her heart thundering in her chest, each beat a desperate plea for clarity amid the chaos. The shadows prowled, whispering lies that slithered into her thoughts, offering power in exchange for her essence. No, she breathed, fighting the pull toward the gaping uncertainty below her. She needed to make a choice, but each option felt like a betrayal. The darkness threatened to swallow her whole, tightening its grip around her spirit. Suddenly, her mother's voice broke through the din, a lifeline thrown in the chaos. Lila, listen to your heart. You know the truth. The words resonated within her, grappling with the shadows that sought to drown them out. Love is your strength. Zadkiel echoed, the intensity of its voice like a bell tolling, urging her to rise above the fear. She closed her eyes, drowning out the noise, and focused on the warmth that had always cradled her in moments of doubt. It flickered in her mind as sunbeams slicing through the encroaching night. Memories surged, vivid and powerful. Laughter at the dinner table, her mother's comforting embrace, the weight of a friend's hand during hard times. These were the threads of her strength. With a deep breath, Lila allowed herself to be consumed by the light of her memories, letting it swirl around her like a soft cloak. I choose love, she shouted, the words bursting forth with newfound conviction. In that fiery moment, she felt clarity blooming within her, and the shadows recoiled, the ground trembled, and in response to her declaration, the abyss exerted a desperate pull, threatening to devour her resolve. The sinister whispers grew louder, reverberating through her mind. You think you can save them? They are lost already. But Lila's spirit surged. She clasped her hands together, feeling the energy flow through her like water through a stream. You will not take me. With every ounce of love she had, she transformed that energy into a radiant beam, shooting it forward like a comet cutting through the night. The light erupted once more, a wave that merged with her growing confidence. The shadows faltered, their mass trembling, but they quickly retaliated, rushing back with renewed fury. What will your mother think when you fail? She will suffer because of you. Panic squeezed her throat. No, Lila cried, desperation clawing at her. I want to let you manipulate me. I want to let them suffer. Her mother's gaze, shining with unwavering support, fortified Lila's resolve. Do it for us, my love. With that, Lila pushed deeper, focusing on the golden light that coursed through her veins. The darkness hissed and writhed, desperate to snuff out her hope, but her love stood firm. She felt not just her own heart, but also the hearts of those she had saved. Their collective strength, a tidal wave crashing against the shadows. As Lila unleashed the full force of her love, the darkness rippled, its once dominant form flickering, struggling to withstand the onslaught. But even as the glow intensified, shadows snarled back, claws reaching for her heart. No, I want to give in. And then it happened. One final flash of blinding brilliance erupted from her, fusing into a dazzling spear aimed straight for the heart of the shadows. The air thickened. Time slowed. She could see at the convergence of light and dark, each pulling her toward an inexorable fate. Would it shatter the darkness, or would the shadows swallow her whole? In that heartbeat, every hope and fear hung in balance. She felt the weight of the world resting on her shoulders. The very fabric of her fate began to unravel, and she could sense that this was only the beginning. But the truth lay shrouded in mystery. What secrets would she uncover when the shadows finally broke? As the colors of her love clashed against the depths of despair, the answers she sought hung tantalizingly close. The thought sent a shiver up her spine. Would she be able to seize her destiny, or be swept away into eternal night? The darkness trembled, hesitation flaring in its insatiable grasp as Lila anchored herself in that moment of truth. Every heartbeat roared like thunder, every breath a testament to her will. She flicked her gaze between the encroaching shadows and the warmth of light that radiated from within her. "I am not your pawn," she cried, defiance spiraling through her words. "I am love. I am hope." The shadows hissed, a tumultuous wave of fury attempting to drown her spirit. "You think your heart can outshine the abyss? Foolish girl," they screeched, malicious glee spilling from every direction. They swirled around her like a tempest, pricking at her resolve, digging into her mind with searing doubt. "Your mother, your friends, they are nothing. They bend to the winds of despair, that you might fall with them." But the voices were nothing but hollow echoes, faded memories wrapped in a shroud of fear. An image of her mother swam before her, smiling, loving, vibrant. "Lila, my love." The memory sparked within her. "I fight for them. I fight for the light," she bellowed, the words surging from her core, exploding outward like fireworks across a pitch-black sky. Zadkiel's wings spread wide, casting a bright halo around Lila, infusing her with strength. "Trust in your love. It cannot be taken. It can only grow. You are the light in this darkness." Fueling her soul with the very essence of her spirit, Lila let the love she bore ripple through her, forming a barrier against despair. Suddenly, she understood the weight of her decision. It wasn't merely about sacrifice. It was about taking control. "I want to be afraid. I stand for all that is good." With a fierce shout, she hurled that brilliant illumination toward the epicenter of the swirling darkness. The shadows shrieked, writhing as the intensity of her love collided against the void. Light met dark, a dramatic clash that filled the air with crackling energy. The darkness struggled, folding in upon itself, fighting against the tide of vibrant brilliance that poured from her spirit. "Foolish child," the entity screeched, its facade cracking as it wobbled under the force of her resolve. "You will see despair." As shadows twisted and fragmented, their shrieks crescendoed, an anguished symphony of darkness, unraveling like a snake shedding its skin. "No," Lila declared again, even bolder this time. "I choose to fight for light. I choose to fight for love." Reality shifted around her, fabric torn as her strength thrashed against the encroaching darkness. Each shimmering burst from her heart stung like a meteor striking the cold earth. The shadows contorted in anguish, their shape weakening. Beneath the veil of uncertainty, she glimpsed a pathway shimmering, a flickering glimpse of clarity that illuminated the way forward. "Stay strong," Zadkiel urged, its voice powerful now, echoing across the tumultuous sky. Together, they sent a wave of pure light surging forth, breaking chains both physical and emotional, binding her mother and her friends. In that moment, Lila felt the essence of her family rally behind her, their strength merging with her own, forming an unstoppable force. The tendrils of darkness recoiled, vaporizing into nothingness, their cries fading like whispers on the wind. Lila closed her eyes and let the light engulf her, embracing every memory, every laugh, every moment she cherished. She felt invincible. Then came the final push. With a heart full of fervor, she unleashed the full magnitude of her love. A glorious explosion of radiant energy erupted, casting away the last remnants of the shadows. With one last earth-shattering roar from the void, the dark retracting, revealing her mother, her eyes wide with disbelief and hope. The shadows melted away, leaving only the shimmering afterglow. "Lila." Her mother rushed forward, wrapping her in arms that felt like safety come home. The townsfolk stepped out from the shadows, their expressions shifting from trepidation to awe. Zadkiel hovered beside them, luminous wings now draping over the town, bathing the streets in warmth. "You have done what none could," it spoke, with a voice gentle yet powerful. "You embraced the light within you, the love that binds us all. In doing so, you have saved more than just your town. You have saved countless souls." Lila looked around at the faces of her family, her friends, the townspeople filled with hope and strength, each soul gleaming from within. She felt tears burning at her eyelids, but they were no longer tears of fear. They were tears of triumph. "It was never just me," she said, her voice steady. "I fought for all of us. We need each other." Zadkiel smiled, a warmth radiating throughout the air. "Indeed, love is the most powerful force in the universe, and you have proven that tonight. Embrace it as you return to the light." As dawn broke over the horizon, spilling gold across the land, Lila knew this was more than the end. It was beginning a new chapter filled with hope, love, and united strength. With her family close and the angel by her side, they turned to face a brighter tomorrow. Fear had been replaced by resilience. This was their story, one not just of darkness, but of unfaltering love and everlasting light. And as they stepped into the new day, Lila felt the glowing sense of unity inside her, ready to confront whatever came next. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Your support matters more than you know, and this is the moment to show it. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and help us grow this amazing community. And flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this incredible conclusion. What did you think would happen? Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this powerful ending. You are the heartbeat of this channel, and it's time you let your voice be heard.